All right, welcome everybody to this meeting tonight. Let me make sure we've got everybody mute. If you can mute yourself, I think there's a control for me to mute everybody, but I'm not finding it super fast. Oh, mute all. There we go. That way we won't have any interruptions in the middle. Okay. And there, I am ready now. Welcome. My name is Leslie Householder. Tonight we're going to be talking about unseen help, what it is, how to experience more of it, so that perhaps with just a few adjustments, you can start seeing better results and feeling more supported than maybe you feel right now. Unseen help. Some people experience timely help, open doors, serendipitous resources, and the right support at just the right time, while others feel stuck and exhausted, pretty much feeling like they have to deal with their challenges all on their own. I've been there. We all have people in our lives, of course, and we may feel their support, but I'm just talking about something else. Life's biggest achievements are never accomplished solo. So, what is the unseen help, and how can we experience more of it? What if we're blocking the help without even knowing it? It can be frustrating when you feel like everything is going to screech to a halt or fall apart altogether if you stop spinning all the plates, or if you don't figure out a way to solve that problem in front of you once and for all. So tonight I'll be talking about what the unseen help is, how it might not be what you think it is, and how to activate it in your own life more dependably. Some of you have never been in a class with me before, so I'm excited to have you here, and I just want to share a little bit about why I do what I do. Again, my name is Leslie Householder. I am a faith-based mindset trainer, author, and co-founder of the School of Life Mastery. I got my start in the year 2000 after trying to survive 7 long years of what I call drowning in life. We were starving students. We were trying to raise a young family with cars that wouldn't start, sometimes nearly empty cupboards, and we were working multiple jobs. And I remember one time after being dealt some other blow, I don't know what it was. It might have been a medical bill or a bounced check or another mechanical failure. I don't remember. But my already stressed out mind immediately went to, I don't know what to think about this. What am I supposed to think? Because it was just like one thing after another. And maybe you've been there. Because instinctively, I believed that if I could just think right about this, then I could know that everything was going to work out for the best. In some ways, I might have been more afraid of thinking wrong and making things worse than I might have been about the actual problem. My fears were founded. I just had no idea how much my thinking patterns had already been contributing to our hardships. So, long story short, we learned some things that helped us understand how we were thinking wrong. And as soon as we started thinking right, things started to shift. In less than 6 months, my husband got a job that tripled our income. We moved into a beautiful home and set up our first rental property. I started sharing what we learned by teaching seminars. And even though we learned it from inside a mindset, personal development framework, it fit so easily into our faith, into our belief system, and actually increased my faith in God. So since then, it's turned into what has become my life's work to this point: faith-based mindset training, aligning it with my personal beliefs and helping people understand how to apply the principles inside what you might call a covenant relationship with God. And life has given me plenty of opportunities to test, fail, succeed, and prove my theories. And while I'm sure I certainly only grasp a sliver of what there is to understand about it, I have learned enough to have confidence in their validity and to know what I can do in any given circumstance to qualify for the best possible outcome. So, in my beliefs, God is in charge and has the ultimate say about whether my prayers or petitions will be granted or not. But where my peace comes from is in knowing when I'm thinking how I should think and doing what I need to do to stop being the limiting factor. Let me share this with you. So, in other words, I don't want to be the limiting factor in what he can or will do for me. If I pray and work for something and it doesn't happen, I have some certainty that at least it wasn't because I didn't do my part. Sometimes we just have to wait on the Lord, and the more patient and submissive we are to his will, the sooner we demonstrate our readiness to steward that next blessing. And what I found when I align with the principles is that it can be astonishing how ready and excited he is to open doors for us as we make those adjustments. One of our jobs during those starving student days was cleaning office buildings in the middle of the night. One of those office buildings belonged to Stephen R. Covey, the New York Times bestselling author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I've never met the man, but I did empty his trash many times. On one occasion, I spotted a bookmark in his trash with a picture of Einstein on it. And it had the quote, "I want to know God's thoughts. The rest are details." In other words, nothing else matters. And that struck me. Einstein, one of the greatest minds in history, wanted to know how God thought. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know how God thinks, except in what we have from his scriptures and revelations. But when I live these principles, I do feel closer to him, and I overcome my challenges a little more easily. This information has increased my faith. My confidence in his hand in my life grows, and it inspires me to do good. So it's my personal belief that the way of thinking I'll be talking about tonight is aligned with his plan. If that matters to you, you can judge for yourself. I've been teaching these principles for over 25 years, and I've seen hundreds of success stories, if not thousands, from people who have made tiny adjustments in the way they think and who saw profound positive changes in the way their life started going when they applied the things they learned. So that has been my fascination, all that I've worked on, the books, the courses, the school we built, and weekly groups that we lead. They're all centered on leveling up our thinking so that life can keep improving. We're working toward achieving our highest God-given potential. But before I go any further, let's define unseen help for the purpose of this training. Unseen help is anything that you could really use right now, but which is currently invisible or seemingly unavailable at the present. So let's talk about that a little bit. Unseen help is anything that you could really use right now, but which is currently invisible or seemingly unavailable at the present. For example, unseen help in the context of prayer, help from heaven, accessed by faith. Some of the invisible resources in this context are angels coming to our aid, sent from heaven. It's the Spirit of God. I think I might have a slide on this. Hang on. Nope. I'll get to it. All right. So the Spirit of God is invisible. Inspiration is invisible. Revelation is invisible. Other unseen resources or invisible resources is guidance, pure intelligence that comes from God. Another type of invisible resource or hidden help comes through in the context of action. It's where we bring our muscle. It's determination. It's motivation, willpower, grit, tenacity. If you can think of those as unseen help, like sometimes you're doing something and you just get this surge of motivation. You get an added endowment of willpower. You find extra tenacity. You have greater determination. Sometimes we lack these things and we need them. And so that can be considered unseen help. It's help that gets us to do the muscle things or taking action. Another context comes in the world of quantum physics. It's help from universal laws. These are where we align through our mindset. Some of the invisible resources in quantum physics are the laws, the natural laws that govern our outcomes. They are promises that if X happens, you can expect Y. If you do X, Y is going to be the result. Intuition and instinct, these are things that are built into our physiology. Time is an unseen resource, and it's not as fixed or as constant as we may think. Some other things that can be accessed through quantum physics are hidden physical resources. And in the world of science, we also have broadcasts or information that come to us through radio, audio, podcasts, media. These are unseen, they're invisible. If you're hearing them broadcast to you, it can be helpful, but it's unseen. And I know that what we're talking about is a little bit abstract. I think it's going to come together here for you as we get into it a little bit more. But there are 3 approaches to solving problems. We all need unseen help sometimes. And depending on our belief system, we may go about it in different ways to get that help. Number 1, prayer. Some people pray for help and bear witness of the power of prayer and the reality of God. Others pray for help and are still waiting for evidence that anyone is listening. Our muscle or action. Some people muscle through and try to do everything on their own, and a lot of remarkable things can be achieved by sheer willpower and strength. Others muscle through and end up with frustration and burnout. Mindset. Some people use visualization techniques and a belief in the law of attraction to bring about more favorable circumstances in their lives, while others attempt the same techniques and see no change in their results. I'm not here to tell you tonight how you should believe or which approach you should take. I'm just going to share some of the conclusions I've come to from my study, experimentation, and personal observations over the last few decades. And here's what I've found. Sometimes our prayers aren't answered because we're not employing some of the other God-given faculties He's endowed us with. We just ask without applying ourselves. He gave us brains and a body, and He expects us to use them. So here are some verses from Scripture that help us understand this. In Doctrine and Covenants 9 and 7, He said, "Behold, you have not understood. You have supposed that I would give it unto you when you took no thought, save it was to ask me." There is more sometimes that we need to do. Faith without works is dead, James 2:26. Now, when it comes to action or works, why works alone can fall short. Here's one of my favorite verses. "Ye endeavored to believe that ye should receive the blessing which was offered unto you. But behold, verily I say unto you, there were fears in your hearts. And verily this is the reason that you did not receive." So you can do work, you can muscle through, you can strive for that goal, but with fear in your heart, sometimes you're not going to reach the goal that you have in mind. Counsel with the Lord in all thy doings. We're doing things, but as we do things, we can receive more help if we counsel with the Lord in that. In the world of mindset, why mindset by itself doesn't always pan out. We are expected to be doers. Be ye doers of the word, James 1:22. And whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. We're expected to sow not just idea seeds, but also action seeds. So again, works can fall short because we're not bringing faith or hope to the equation. Sometimes we fall short because our attitude is out of line. Sometimes we fall short. Sometimes we fall short because we have fear and doubt. Think of it this way. Imagine showing up to a job interview with a chip on your shoulder about something, and the hiring manager feels that something's off. Our mindset comes through even when we try to hide it. But sometimes positive mindset, when it doesn't pan out, it's because we reject the opportunities that arrive when they're scary or uncomfortable, or because our actions don't align with who we're being or what's going on in our subconscious. So again, all three approaches are important, and you can do some great things with them individually, but when they're utilized together, our outcomes can feel miraculous. Because unseen help, once enlisted, employed, or should I say allowed, is like a lever where a small amount of effort can sometimes produce superhuman outcomes. Sorry. There we go. By small and simple things are great things brought to pass. So, mercifully, the principles work no matter what your spiritual beliefs are. I've just found that their meaning, power, and purpose is amplified when they're utilized inside a believer's framework. So, that's going to be my approach tonight. Now, I pulled together more than I originally planned for you tonight. So, there's a chance we're going to go longer than 1 hour. But if you need to bounce, you'll get the replay when it's ready. Do what you need to do. All right. When I first started thinking about unseen help many years ago, in my mind, it was all about angels or God's intervention. But if we're going to talk about truth and the way things actually are, I don't think it's blasphemous to say that not all help requires an angel. There are spontaneous results. And what I'm saying is this: while I do give credit to God for all good things, I think some outcomes require more of his direct intervention than others. Some outcomes are simply spontaneous because a natural law is in play. For example, when an apple breaks from the tree, God doesn't send an angel to push it to the ground. It falls spontaneously because gravity is having a constant, ever-present effect on it. By the same token, there are things we can do, ways to think about our situations that cause spontaneous results because we've aligned with a natural law already in force. I believe that God is interested in our success and well-being, so his teachings help us align with those invisible, some even still unknown, laws that govern his universe. But so many positive outcomes can be realized immediately and spontaneously simply by our obedience to true principles. So here's an apple falling to the ground. It happens spontaneously. I don't think God needs to spend his time helping that happen. The laws are in place and things respond to the laws. So there is a law irrevocably decreed in heaven before the foundations of this world upon which all blessings are predicated. And when we obtain any blessing from God, it is by obedience to that law upon which it is predicated. By the way, I'm working on a book right now that's exploring some of the differences between the broader law of attraction world versus living the principles within a covenant relationship with God, how they're similar, where they diverge, and why it matters. So just stay tuned for that if you're in my community. But the reason I'm intentionally including all three types of unseen help for this training is because we as humans are still learning what's behind our interesting outcomes. After all, how do I actually know if that door opened for me because God dispatched an angel to help me out? Or did my thoughts and actions set off a spontaneous chain of events? I don't know. I will say that I had an experience once that taught me very clearly that if I even had the strength to get out of bed that day, it was God's power, not my own. So in my book, he still gets all the credit for my ability to do anything, but what can I do to activate more of the help I seek? So what I try to do when I'm really serious about realizing an outcome is I'll employ all of those approaches and thank God for providing the way, no matter what the actual mechanism was that did the job. It's one of those lawful ways of thinking that I'm talking about, to recognize the actual source of my own strength. D&C 5921 says, "In nothing doth man offend God, or against none is his wrath kindled, save those who confess not his hand in all things." So let's give him all the credit. I give him credit for everything. I even thank him for my hardships. Thinking this way seems to open more doors. So next, I want to share something from my upcoming book, and I think I have a slide for this too. Let me check. Yep. This is going to set the stage for where we're going next. I believe God has a system in place to take care of his children's basic needs, even if they don't know him, and even if they don't receive and live by all of his laws. The system is like a universal computer program where the governing code determines the output, depending on the input. You can also think of it like a collection of cosmic cogs and gears, hinges and pulleys, switches and levers, all moving like clockwork, each piece doing its part, triggered by certain factors. When the necessary criteria is met, the system responds automatically, moving everything into its proper position and delivering the lawful outcome. Whether the system was designed and created by God or whether he is God because he has perfect governing command of the system, it handles the billions of tasks required to meet his children's needs with celestial efficiency. Then for us, the challenge is to figure out what we can do to activate the process when we need help. The system is already in place and ready to supply as soon as we meet the requirements that start the ball rolling. The problem is most of us don't know what's required, and even if we do, it's not always easy or natural to do it. In fact, our natural response to setbacks and hardships is often the exact opposite of what the system is looking for. The good news is that the more you understand the system, the easier it is to do your part. It can be comforting to know that the outcomes are dependable when you understand your role in the equation. Studying and applying God's word can help you align with it. So now I want you to think of something you would love to see happen, a goal, a vision for your life. It can be short-term, long-term, doesn't matter. Something that maybe you haven't quite figured out how to do, or maybe you know what to do, but you're missing a critical piece and you could use some help. Let's assume that more help is always available than we think, but maybe it's just unseen, invisible right now. Maybe it's a resource you need and you don't know where it is, or maybe it's an idea you haven't been able to think of yet. Maybe what you need is more time or manpower than you presently have. All of these represent something abstract or invisible to you right now. So I'll give you a minute to get clear on what it is. Write it down or put it in the chat, or you can just say got it if you know what it is but don't want to share it. So what you're doing is you're coming up with something that you would like to see happen, or a goal, something that you would like to achieve. Now it's going to help you get the most out of this, the rest of this webinar, if you get really clear on what that is. Think of one thing that's important to you. Okay, got it. Becoming a speaker, weight loss, money, perfect. And if you haven't put it in the chat, make sure you've got it somewhere in front of you, because we're going to be referring to it. Okay, in any case, the thing hasn't happened yet because you need something you don't have, right? Or maybe you can't see where to find it yet. So here's my claim. You can call it a theory, but I've been testing it for years and it's yielded profound results for myself and many others. And I'm going to put this up on the screen. The solution to every problem is only an idea away, and the idea you need is already in the room with you. Let that sink in for a minute. The solution to every problem is only an idea away, and the idea you need is already in the room with you. What does that mean? If you look around, do you see what you need in the room with you? The thing you've been looking for, waiting for, trying to create? Like radio waves broadcasting music, there is a steady stream of inspiration and solutions flowing from God's realm. And when you tune into it, you get sparks that show you your next right step. I'll say that again. Like radio waves broadcasting music, there is a steady stream of inspiration and solutions flowing from God's realm. And when you tune into it, you get sparks that show you your next right step. It's inspired action, where to position yourself to cross paths with the resources you need, what to do next to open yourself up to receive what God already wants to give you. You know, you may not have a radio on in your room right now, but if you had a radio, you could turn it on and you'd hear music. I think we forget that our room is full of music. Our room is full of talk radio. It's full of anything that's floating through the airwaves. And if you can think of inspiration from God as being a broadcast like that, and that we, given this mortal body, is a receiver. We can tune in with our thoughts and by the things we choose to think about and the way we allow ourselves to feel. We are tuning in to that broadcast. It can bring us spark ideas, genius ideas that solve our problems. I'm going to take a second to share. Some of you haven't heard this story yet, but during the recession, we're dealing with a pretty severe problem. We had invested in too much real estate at the top of the market, and it was falling fast. And we held things together, robbing Peter to pay Paul. We just scraping by for a few years until it just got to the point where we had nowhere else to turn, and we had run out and exhausted all of our resources. And we had about maybe $200 left in the bank. We had bills amounting to about $15,000 due in a couple weeks. We had no paycheck in sight. We weren't working except for our own business. So we were at the end of it, and I'm like, what are we going to do? And for those years, I kept wondering, what are we going to do if we run out of money? And so I had that fear running through the back of my mind all the time. And here we were facing it. And we knew these principles because we'd seen them work before. And so we decided, all right, honey, it's our anniversary weekend. How about we just go out to eat and allow ourselves to pretend like everything's okay for a couple hours? And, we hadn't let ourselves go out to eat for about a year. We just didn't feel like we could afford it, justify it. There was no way. And yet here we were. It's like, I can't think of anything else to do. We need to get our minds tuned in to where we're going instead of drowning in what we're facing. So we did. We went out to Macaroni Grill in Gilbert, Arizona. And I got myself a $2 soup. He got himself some salmon. And we had our dinner. And the goal and the rules around this dinner is that we were going to spend those 2 hours imagining where we were going to be 10 years from now or from then. Because I said, I have no idea how we're going to get through this week. I have no idea how we're going to get through this month. But do you think we'll have it figured out in 10 years? Well, of course, 10 years from now, we'll have it figured out. We could bounce back by then, sure. And so let's talk about what we're going to be doing in 10 years. And we took the time to imagine how old the kids were going to be, where were we going to be living? Because obviously we were having to downsize and change our life a lot to get through this. But we started building that dream, and we let ourselves get excited about it by tuning out the fear and the stress of what we were facing right here, right now, and instead look ahead, look past it. And most importantly, let ourselves feel it. Because we've learned over the years that this is how you tune in to the solutions you need to solve those problems. And so we enjoyed the dinner, we had a good time, and we paid the bill. I still have the receipt. We walked out to the car, and as my husband was letting me in the door, we heard this noise, commotion behind us, and we turned around, and it was the server running out after us with the paper in his hand. And we're like, what's going on? And he said, wait a minute. Because it's your anniversary, the meal's on us. We had already paid the bill. This was a chain. This wasn't just a mom and pop local store. This was a chain. And I've never seen that before. We didn't even tell them that it was our anniversary. I think they overheard. But they felt, for whatever reason, compelled to void our purchase and run after us to let us know. And in that moment, we realized this is how we are going to get through every day until this is solved. And problem wasn't solved right away. We still had the bills to pay. We still had that to face. But we were reminded in that experience how important it is to check our thoughts and to check our feelings and choose them very intentionally. Yeah, we still had the problems, but we weren't going to focus on them. We didn't have time to focus on them. We needed to stay in solution mode. And so we got busy. We got together with one of our mentors, and brainstormed, how are we going to solve this? But before we started stabbing at ideas, we got clear on how we wanted to feel and what things were going to look like on the other side of it. And we don't have time to share the whole story here, but by the end of the month, we had generated $43,000 out of nothing. And it came from an idea. My husband had a spark. He says, well, what if we try this? And we followed it. That's how these things work. So that was a segue I hadn't planned on throwing in here, but let's move on. So think about that hidden thing, the outcome, resource, idea, support, whatever you feel like you're lacking now. And with that in mind, I want you to watch a video. Let me kind of set this up. And also remember that for us to experience that little hidden help, the unseen help that opened the door for us to have that meal paid for. And yes, it was great that we didn't have to pay for the meal, but more than that, it was like a wink from God saying, you're on the right track. Keep at it. You're going to be okay. Right. So in order for us to experience that, we had to stop looking at what was right in front of us and look past it. Okay. So with that in mind, years ago, I was at an expo and we had one of those magic eye hidden 3D image posters at a booth we were running. And anyone who could spot the hidden image got a prize. Some of the people had a hard time seeing something that was right in front of them. You see where I'm going with this? So there's a big parallel here. Some of the people had a hard time seeing something that was right in front of them. So what if the thing you need is closer than you think? What if you're already looking right at it, but your focus is wrong and that's why you can't see it yet? Anyway, that's just one parallel in the clip I'm going to share. I found at least 14 really cool, solid nuggets in this clip, metaphors that could help you know how to think or what to do to see or find whatever hidden thing you're looking for. Now, near the beginning, it's going to briefly show you the poster that they are looking at. And later, when I share the replay, because you registered for this event, you can pause the video and see if you can spot it for yourself. But as you watch, the main thing is to make a note of any nugget from this video that teaches you something about what you could do to help you find, receive, or achieve that thing you wrote down. Okay? Let me pull that up. Remember, I'm going to be asking you for what nuggets you got relative to your own situation. Maybe you can identify with some of these people in here, and if you do, make note of that.
Stop for a second. Oh,
I might be here all day.
you promise it's really there, right?
I promise. I promise. Wait a minute.
What's the secret?
Let me ask you, can you guys hear the audio? It's on, it's just low. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep going.
I got it. You just saw it already? I see it, but I want to see it better. Oh, I see it here. Hold on. Yep. I got it? Yep. Cool. Oh. Did you lose it? No, I got it back. Oh, it's one of those things. It's right here. I see it.
You see it?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, there. It's totally right there.
You really? Yeah, crap. How slow do I go? No, I see it. Try again.
Keep them just like that as you go back. Don't move your eyes, don't change them, just stay relaxed.
No, horrible. If you get me to do it, you're a champ. Try it again. I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep doing this. I get it. The most people get on the first try.
Nobody seems to get it on the first try. In fact, some people never get it and they
That's
just
me.
walk away. Make a declaration. I can do this. I'm going to do this. Your eyes look right. They really do.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna do this. I might be here all day.
It's all right. The harder it is, the greater the victory.
Do you want me to stare at like a dot or something?
No, and if you're looking at the poster, you'll never see it. Let me see your eyes. Just get bored.
Okay.
I'm waiting to see your eyes. They're going to end up going a little bit wall-eyed because you're going to focus then past me where your eyes are more naturally positioned.
I'll try it.
Now I'll show you what my eyes. I'm going to look at you and then I'm going to go relax. So I'm looking at the bridge of your nose. Now I'm going to relax my eyes.
Okay. I'll try it.
It's kind of like your peripheral noticing something.
And you're patient and work with me on this. Because I'm too intense, man. That's probably my problem.
You know what it's like when you're looking at somebody and you tune out and they're still talking, but you're tuned out thinking of something else. It's kind of what you got to let your brain do. If you notice a piece of it start to line up, you'll start to see the edge of it. Some people will make the mistake of looking over where they saw something and then they lose it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you start to notice one of the edges coming into clarity, don't move your eyes to it. Just let your peripheral find the rest of it. Positive self-talk in your head. Don't give up. You're onto it. You're onto it.
Got it.
You got it?
Got it. Got it. I got that.
You
Right there. Yeah, I finally got it. See, I think I'm just too intense. I'm just supposed to be like, I want to see it in 30 seconds. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I like it. I did it. I didn't become relaxed. That's my problem.
You know, there's a life lesson in it.
Tell me.
We work so hard,
Yeah.
and so much of what we want is right there.
Yeah.
And as we relax into it, it's like learning how to swim. You got to take a deep breath, relax, and keep your chin up, and you will float.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is for life too. All right, so now I want to know, what nuggets did you find in that? Because what he just did demonstrated what it can be like for people to start seeing and discovering the hidden resources that are right there. Any nuggets? Relax. Good. Keep your chin up. Good. Relax your eyes. Soft gaze. Did you catch where I said you got to look past? You got to look past what's right in front of you. Believe it. Good. If he didn't believe he was going to do it, he would have given up a long time ago, right? Make a declaration. He did that in his head. I know he was talking to himself. Positive self-talk is so important. And it's not just so that we feel good. It's so that we will tune in energetically to the broadcast of sparks and ideas that will get us to where we're trying to go. We think that we're not doing any damage by self-loathing. We think we can get away with having a tantrum, but those things have an impact on what happens next spontaneously. Spontaneously. Okay, so you guys want to hear some of the ones I came up with? Yes, thank you. Okay, I was just checking. All right. So the poster represents your reality as you know it. The rabbit on the poster is the hidden resource. It's unseen help. Maybe it's a genius idea or spark, knowing your next right step or a solution to a problem, but you just can't see it. It feels invisible, but is it invisible? It's there, but it's invisible to me just because my focus is wrong. So we have to watch our focus. What are we focused on? You have to be in the right mindset to see it. Let me tell you, stress, tantrums, fear, unbelief, these mental attitudes turn into a physiological energy that pinches off the optical perspective that allows you to see what you need to see. And the principle translates physically, emotionally, and spiritually, which is one really good clue that it's a true principle. When I send out the replay, I'll share the 14 nuggets I found, but let me read some of them to you. The harder it is, the greater the victory. Putting your nose on it, where you noticed all those people putting their nose on it. There's a couple things you can take from that. One reason that people are instructed to put their nose on it is because it's too hard to focus when you're that close. So it forces their eyes to just kind of stop trying, which is the place their eyes need to be to spot the hidden image. But putting your nose on it can also be facing a challenge head on, answering the question, what if this never goes away? Helps calm our mind so that we can be receptive again to the inspired ideas. Another thing about connecting with it, keeping your eyes fixed on the image in your mind. As they go back, I told them to keep their eyes where they are instead of letting their eyes change as the distance grows. In other words, no matter what the scenery is doing in your life, stay fixed on the image in your mind. Another one is to relax. We talked about that. Another one is look at your situation from different angles. I don't know if you noticed that people were standing in different positions because they were trying to get it at a different angle. How do you do that in real life? How can you look at your situation from different angles? Anybody have any thoughts on that? How can you take new looks at the same problem that you're facing? You can get other people's input, right? That's one way. Journaling about it. Journaling about it with a prayerful heart, and your mind will start tuning into different ways to look at it. Those are just a couple ideas. Trying again and again and again and again. The blonde guy at the end, he didn't give up, did he? He was determined. He was going to be there all day if that's what it took. And some of your goals, if they are that important to you, I hope you will go for them if it takes you till the end of your life. If it's important enough, then be willing to give your life to it. Like, I will do this as long as it takes. If it's not that important, then maybe check your goals. What are you spending your time on, right? Ask what else might work. That's a really good one. Another one is, did you notice where he said, am I trying to focus on a dot, or am I looking at a dot? And I said, no. If you're looking at the poster, the hard data, the current circumstances, ruminating about how bad things are right now, you'll never see the hidden resource or detect the unseen help you want. If you're looking at the poster, you'll never see the rabbit. If you noticed, he said, oh, I'm too intense. There is a mindset type on our mindset quotient test that is called the achiever. And that is a wonderful, respectable quality to have until you need unseen help. Then the achiever mindset can be a stumbling block. Another piece is if you start to see a piece of it, like if you start to see the ear come into view, don't turn your eyes to focus on that piece or you're going to lose it. And how I see that relating to our circumstances is if you're headed towards the thing that you're trying to achieve and you get a piece that looks like it's working, you can start putting your focus too much on that one little piece and lose the rest. So really you want to stay focused on the big picture and let your peripheral gather in the details. Positive self-talk in your head, don't give up, you're onto it. And just because you can't see it, it doesn't mean it isn't there. Anyway, I have a whole section called Discovering Your Hidden Resources in my Activating Unseen Help program, where we do what you saw happening in this video, but instead we do it with real life situations and real resources. Basically, my goal is to help students see things that they don't automatically or naturally see. Because when I can change their perspective, they will begin seeing more real evidence and experiencing more unseen help in their lives. I would love to see everyone have the same expectant, patient, teachable, committed energy as that blonde guy in the video. Because just like once you can see a hidden 3D image on a poster like this, it's easier the next time. And the same applies to knowing how to access the hidden resources you need in real life when you need them. I'm curious. I want to know how many of you have ever done one of those 3D hidden image posters. I'm going to go to gallery view so I can see everybody for a second here. Oh, a whole bunch of you don't even have your videos on. That's fine. I'd love to see who you are, but anyway, tell me in the chat if you've seen those posters. If you've seen those posters, and I want to know if you struggle with them or if you know how to do them. Put it in the chat, whether it's a struggle or whether it's easy. I'm curious. So Audra, they're called magic eye images. In fact, let me pull, I think I have a screenshot. I'm going to go ahead and put it on the screen and give you guys an opportunity to try it if I can find it fast enough. Yep. Okay, this is a 3D hidden image magic eye poster. So basically, oh, it's not going to let me get it cut. So can you see my cursor moving around? All right, so somewhere in this chaos, in these little dots, there is a silhouette of a jackrabbit. And if you look at it just right, it pops off the screen and looks 3D, and you can move your head around and it kind of floats in front of the grass. Now I'm going to go back to the chat because I want to see what you're all saying. Okay, so Allison has done it many times. She figured it out and it's pretty easy now. Tracy Joe's got an entire book. Good. Okay. It starts as a struggle, but gets easier as you do them. Yeah, you kind of get a feel for how your eyes need to focus or not focus, because it's this balance. But again, you'll be able to pause the video and do this more when you watch the replay, if you choose to watch the replay. It's too small on the phone, I imagine. Yeah. Mary, did you see it on this screen right here? Is that what you're saying? You saw the jackrabbit? Okay, good. Good. It's kind of fun, right? So the ears are up here and the back comes over here. You can't see it, but all right. So it's our logo, our jackrabbit logo that we've used for years. I don't have one right in front of me, but I'm gonna stop my share. So that feeling that you get, frustrated that you can't see it, but you see it once and you're like, oh, and then someone brings you another poster and you're like, okay, I can't see it yet, but I know I can do these, and your confidence grows. And that's the same with these principles. It's hard for some of us the first time. Some people have this gift. They know how to succeed using the principles of rare faith because that's just maybe how they were raised, or they've seen it modeled or whatever. And other people like me, it's like, oh, I know there's something to this and I'm struggling to figure it out. It's a challenge. But you experience it once and it's like, oh, okay, I think I got the feel for that. And you try again and you fail and you fail, and then you try again and you succeed, and you're like, oh, okay. And you start to compare the times where it worked, and you start tracing what your thought process was that helps those doors open. All right, so quality decisions. Let me pull that up. Quality decisions and a jukebox. One of the core principles for unlocking more unseen help is making a quality decision. Think of an old-fashioned jukebox. It's filled with songs all ready to play, but nothing happens until you make a selection. You can stand there all day long, saying what you want, saying that you want music, or complaining about what's currently playing, but the system doesn't respond to that. Do we do that in life? We talk about what we want all the time. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. I wish this wasn't like that. I don't like this. complaining about what life is giving us. It's not what I asked for, but here it is. But the system doesn't respond to that. It only responds when, in the jukebox case, you choose a specific song, you drop the coin and press the button. The mechanism is already built. Everything needed to deliver that song is already in place, but it stays still until you decide. That's where most people get stuck. They know what they don't want, but they haven't actually chosen what they do want. Nothing moves until that decision is clear. And another place people get stuck is knowing what they want, but it doesn't have enough clarity to move them or to inspire them to their next right step. And so the way you get clear on what you want is by putting yourself in situations, whether in reality or in your mind, where you are experiencing it, where you're letting your body feel what it's like to have that result or that experience. Put yourself there. And that's tuning yourself in to a corresponding real situation that matches it. That's a little law of attraction tip right there. But one of the most beautiful ways to do this is to picture your life from the end, looking back on what you built, who you became, and what mattered. That's making a selection. You can do it for short-term things too, but get the long-term clear so that you can be more intuitive about which short-term goals will actually get you there. Getting a clear vision is like making a music selection. Feeling it as if it's already happened is like dropping the coin. And sticking around long enough for the gears to rotate the carousel, the mechanical arms to flip the disc into place, and the needle to softly connect with the vinyl is having patience with the process. Most people in real life with goals make their selection, drop the coin, and then change their mind before the mechanism has a chance to run through its process. Or they walk away and say, well, it took too long. I'm not sure if this coin-operated jukebox thing actually works. But in real life, if you'll do the process and remain patient, expectant, and prepare yourself to receive, you can be confident that the people, the resources, and opportunities you need are already being orchestrated for you. Ideas will come, opportunities will show up, and you'll start taking the next right steps with just a little more confidence than before. I'm not saying the steps are always fun or comfortable, but what I am saying is that it's helped me achieve more when I understand what's going on invisibly when I think in this certain way. And so when I take time to imagine what I'm trying to achieve as if it's already happened and let myself feel it, I'm doing it with the intention of activating unseen help. I'm doing it with the intention of starting something moving. If you want to think about the jukebox, it's dropping the coin and knowing that all these gears are going to start to turn and that carousel is going to make its way around until it's pointing in the right direction for that arm to come down and pull out the right vinyl. It takes time. But if you have visualized it, if you have felt it, something was activated by law. You don't have to wonder, did it work? It worked. It works every time. It activates something. Now, whether you're going to give up on it before it's had a chance to reveal pieces of itself, or whether you're going to have the opportunity show up and you're going to shy away from it, like, yeah, I want the thing, but I don't want that vehicle that's going to get me there. It's no longer a question of whether or not this works. It's whether or not you're ready to do the things that will get you from here to there. So some of you have been in my community for a while. If your confidence has increased, or if you've seen any positive changes in your life from learning about and aligning with the laws that govern these kinds of outcomes, let me know in the chat. And what are the laws? What are some of the laws or principles I'm talking about? There isn't time to go into a lot of them here. The basics are covered in Mindset Fundamentals, and I will drop a link in the chat before we're through. But there is one more principle I want to talk about. It's one of the main concepts that we dissect in Activating Unseen Help. I mentioned that earlier. It's a 36-week program where I work with a small group. We meet weekly to help develop some of these skills. But before I share the concept, I want you to write down or drop in the chat something that's in your way. Something that's in your way. What's in your way? It could be a problem, a roadblock, an adversary, don't name them, a challenge, a distraction, something that's sitting between you and the life you really want. If you don't want to name it, you can just type got it. So you should have two things identified. Something that you want and something that's in the way. Now, the main concept here comes from my book, Portal to Genius, and that is this. And I'm going to stop my share for this because it's important. That adversity you named, it isn't in your way. It is the vehicle delivering the thing you want. The adversity you named, that thing that's in the way, it's not in your way. It's the vehicle delivering the thing that you want. Think about the jukebox. The gears, the arms, all the mechanics inside, bringing the music forward are metaphors for the experiences you need to go through to receive the outcome you've been praying for. So what if, instead of fighting it, you learned from it? What if instead of ignoring it, you got curious about how it's trying to serve you? What if instead of begging God to remove it, you thanked him for it? Because of how maybe it's having you seek him and ask new questions that you've never asked if you didn't have it. What if it will only finally disappear after you've received the gift it's trying to bring you? Got any challenges that you think you've conquered, but it keeps coming back? It might be trying to give you something that you keep ignoring. It might be time to get curious, prayerful, and even open in a way you haven't let yourself be yet. So in my book, The Jackrabbit Factor, Felicity and Richard go through a process where they wake up to the power of their thoughts. And through a series of encounters, their perspective changes and they end up fully confident that because they now see and understand the principles governing their outcomes, they're going to find everything they need to achieve their goal. But in the sequel, however, Portal to Genius, he goes to work the next day, fully convinced that some mentor or something was going to appear, some hidden resource or currently unseen help to teach him his next right step for moving his family to the dream home in the nicer, safer part of town. What he gets instead is a pink slip or a reduction in pay. What would you think if that happened to you? You've set the goal, you've dropped the coin, you know that what you're doing has activated something and you're just ready to go for it. And what shows up is an unexpected setback. In reality, that reduction in pay was a gift from God, one of life's spontaneous, lawful reactions to his newfound vision and commitment. And while it appeared to be bad, the truth is it was the best thing that had ever happened to him. It just didn't look like it quite yet. The hidden gift in the adversity was like the hidden rabbit on the poster. And maybe you're thinking about your adversity and wondering, how could it possibly be good? But in that moment, he responded lawfully to the setback. He connected back with his vision, the goal that fueled him. And then with curiosity, commitment to that vision, and determination, and through some awkward trials and errors, which didn't even matter because failure is just feedback, it led to a miraculous outcome that he could not have accessed in any other way. So adversity is not always a sign that you're on the wrong path. And shifting our thinking doesn't always have to bring adversity. But if you've staked your claim on a different kind of outcome than what you're used to, then that adversity is your access to the thing you want. Don't run from it. Examine it with gratitude and confidence that it's a gift in disguise. That's a lawful response. So responding with gratitude for your challenges is not normal. It's not common, but that's how people who live uncommon lives, supported by unseen help, get there, by responding to their challenges in uncommon ways, in lawful ways. You live a higher law and you'll reap the blessings connected to it. We are almost done. I don't think we're going to go much farther over, but I know it's 6 o'clock if you need to jump. I understand. But I used to think that I would have to do superhuman things to achieve my goals because they seemed so far out of reach. But when I learned that because of the principles, each lawful step in the right direction brings the thing I want one step closer to me, I don't have to go the distance anymore. It meets me in the middle. And that has made everything feel so much easier. That's unseen help. So as we come to the end of this meeting, I have a challenge for you. Think again about the thing you would love to experience, overcome, or achieve. Close your eyes and imagine living it, experiencing it. See yourself calling your friend and telling them that it finally happened. And I'm going to pause while you do that for a second. Now hold that image and feeling just for a minute. I'm going to come back to it. But earlier I mentioned a program I'm doing called Activating Unseen Help. It's 36 weeks and it starts May 28th. If you think you might want to join me for that, I'll show you where you can get more information in a minute. But first, let me share the overview. All right, part one, it's called There is Unseen Help. It's where we go deeper into the mindset fundamentals. Part two is how to receive it, where you start seeing what's invisible now. Part three is how to activate it, where we take ownership and start designing our outcomes. Part four is what to activate it for, learning how to make lawful choices. Part five, trust and conquer, overcoming emotional, energetic, or mindset blocks that tend to show up in the worst possible moments. So activating unseen help is one of the most powerful segments in my Founders Odyssey coaching program. And that's where we're going through. That's the segment we're going through next. Now, it's not for everyone, but if you already know you're ready to step into this more fully, I invite you to complete the interest form for joining my next group. I'll tell you how to do that in just a minute. And based on your answers, we may recommend something else first, but this would be the first step. It's where you'll get all the information. So filling out the form is going to do 5 things. It will give you all the details. It will let me know that you're interested in being considered for one of my groups. Number 3, it will give you a short 3-part video series gift. Number 4, it will help us both find out if joining me on this go around is the right next step for you or not. And the 5th thing it'll do is you'll be sent a code that lets you join at our spring sale rate before that sale goes live. And there's no obligation either way. You can just fill out the form if you want more info. Some of you are feeling like you want to understand what this is all about a little more deeply before taking a committed step, and that's okay. That's exactly what Mindset Fundamentals is for. That one's on sale right now for just $27. And if you're somewhere in between, or if you'd rather talk it through with someone just before deciding anything, that's available as well. You can enter your information in the Talk to Someone link and we will be in touch. So I'm going to drop those links in the chat now. And finally, back to that mental image that you have of yourself experiencing success. With the feeling still hopefully fresh, if there was anything on this call that has your attention, that's like seeing the edge of a rabbit on the 3D poster coming into view. Like, you know, there's something there, you got a glimpse, but maybe you're not sure if it's worth sticking around to see the whole picture or not. And that's okay. I would just encourage you to stay connected to the thing you really want, and you'll instinctively know if something here belongs in the picture or not. What I do is not for everyone, but that's what I hope you take away from this meeting, is how to think a little bit better so that your next right step is more clear and so that you can take that step with confidence. That's how we unlock more unseen help in our day-to-day lives. What I'm offering you here tonight is the kind of education that makes a difference now, but it also affects your future for years to come. One of my students messaged me long after going through some of our programs, and this is what she said. Elisa said, using these principles, we were able to double our income. Now, 8 years later, we have more than doubled that income again. During these past 8 years, there have been peaks and valleys, and a few times when we thought we might be facing some pretty big setbacks. But these principles have helped us put our faith and trust in God and keep moving forward. More important than financial prosperity is the peace of mind, knowing that everything, even financial setbacks, will always work out for our highest good. And that's what I want to leave you with. We've come to the end of this Unseen Help webinar. I hope you've gained something from it that can help you immediately. And I look forward to seeing you in class and down the road, hearing all about what learning about the principles has done for you. So I'm going to stay after for just a couple minutes if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, that's all for now. And we'll see you again soon. Anybody have questions? Well, you guys are easy. All right. Well, have a great evening and we'll see you again soon. Take care, everybody.